Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified of future videos. This block is called Zig Zag rails. It's a variation of the triple rail fence block. Here is the diagram. We just cut 2-inch finished squares and 2-inch by 6-inch finished rectangles for the background. Here are 4 blocks set block to block, and it gives this zigzag pattern. This is a 2x2 grid, and I'm going to show you. If I cover this up and this is the one unit we're going to make and repeat it throughout the block and then throughout the quilt. So here are 6 2-inch finished squares and then the 2-inch by 6-inch finished rectangle. So that's what makes this a 2x2 grid. There are 2 of these units across and 2 down. Patch A is a 2-inch by 6-inch finished rectangle. We cut 6.5-inch by 2.5-inch rectangles, and we'll need 4 patches of the background. If you're using AccuQuilt, use your 2.5-inch strip cutter to cut strips and then subcut them to 6.5-inch segments. Patch B is a 2-inch finished square. We cut 2.5-inch squares, and we need 24 assorted squares for 1 block. Here are the AccuQuilt dies that will cut this shape. This is a larger quilt. It is set 5 blocks across and 7 down. It finishes 60 by 84. And down here I have the yardage required to make this quilt. Up here we have the cutting instructions for the background and the accent fabrics. First thing we're going to do is piece the 6 2-inch finished squares together like this. Your option is to use with the fabric strips or any strips you have. So 3 strips together, press the seams, either open or to the side, however you like, then subcut 2.5-inch segments. You'll get 16 of these segments for 1 strip set like this. And you might want to make several strip sets so you can mix up all the fabrics, because you don't, unless you want them all looking the same, but all these 3 fabrics will always be in the same spot in the block. After we piece the 6 squares together, we'll simply piece the rectangle across the top. Then we'll put our 4 units together to make our block. Here are my 4 rectangles, and I just chose a tone-on-tone that I wanted to use up. It takes about 1 3/4 yards for the background if you're going to do the larger quilt. Here are my 24 squares cut 2.5 inches. I dug most of these out of my scrap basket to piece these, and I have a whole bunch more, so I'm going to piece up all of the squares I have before I start strip piecing, because I plan to make one of the bigger quilts. And what we're going to do is just mix up all your squares however you like, whatever looks good. So these 3 together and these 3 together, and press the seams, and then sew the 2 rows together. Then sew this rectangle on the top and press the seams. We'll make 4 of these total for 1 block. Now we have our 4 units done. Since I was using squares or piecing squares together, I found it easier to press to one side, because I could finger press as I was going and stitch these units together without stopping to go to the iron. So these are all pressed to one side. Now we'll just take our 4 pieces and follow the diagram and lay them out. So now I'll sew these 2 together and these 2, press the seams, and then sew the 2 rows together. And I'll flip these over so I'll know where to stitch. Then I'll take these to the machine and stitch them together. Before I show you the block, I wanted to show you my stack of rectangles I have. I will be making one of the larger quilts. It probably will be after the first of the year, but I will be sure and show you the quilt I finish. Next year I'm planning to do something a little bit different. It won't be blocks of the day. I plan to do more teaching of techniques and doing more finished quilts. So I'll have more quilts to show you. But my main goal for next year, for my main personal goal, is to get rid of all of my scrap fabric. I want to make tons and tons of scrap quilts. And here's a picture of what I have right now. Most of it, I do have some squirreled away some other places, but here's what it looks like. Thank you so much for watching.